Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome back to another episode of She is Resilient. Today we're diving into an incredibly important and often overlooked topic, which is the connection between trauma, your nervous system, and gut health. If you've ever wondered why symptoms like bloating, abdominal pain, or even brain fog seem to keep showing up in your life, especially if you're a trauma survivor, then this episode is for you. So, first, I just want to say that if you're a trauma survivor and you experience IBS or irritable bowel syndrome, then you're not alone. And also, as a side note, trauma isn't an event. Trauma is the response in your nervous system. So if you're functioning from a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze, then you have a traumatized nervous system. I know if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you've heard me say that a gazillion times, but I want to mention it in case this is your first time here. And if it is your first time here, welcome. If you want to understand trauma a little bit more, then I invite you to listen to episode 6, Trauma is Not What You Think. Again, that's episode 6, Trauma is Not What You Think. Okay, so back to IBS. Studies have shown that IBS and other gut health issues are significantly more common in people who've experienced trauma, which makes so much sense once we start to understand the nervous system. So your nervous system is responsible for everything: your brain, your heart, your lungs, and even your gut. Your gut and your brain are deeply connected by the vagus nerve, which is the primary nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that helps you feel safe, calm, and connected. Your vagus nerve travels all the way from your brainstem to your abdomen. And even though we use the term nerve, which implies that there's just one nerve, there's actually a pair of nerves. So it travels from both sides of your body, from the brainstem down to both sides of your neck, down to your chest, and into the abdomen. So basically, without going into all of the science, the vagus nerve is how your brain and your gut communicate with each other. And also, another side note, if you want me to go more into the science in these episodes and you're like me and absolutely love nerding out about the nervous system, then let me know, send me a DM, an email, or leave a comment on Spotify, because I would be more than happy to dive deeper into this topic with you. So anyway, when your nervous system is dysregulated, aka when you have survival energy in your body or trauma in the body, it starts to disrupt this communication between your brain and your gut. And your gut becomes impacted by this constant stress to the body, because when you're living in a constant state of survival, that is unnecessary stress to the body. So your gut is where trillions of microorganisms live. This is what we call your gut microbiome. So think of it as like a tiny community of bacteria that works really hard to keep you healthy, to keep your body healthy. So this bacteria plays a huge role in your digestion, your immune function, and emotion regulation, and also your energy levels, right? So when your nervous system has experienced trauma, it changes your gut microbiome. So it starts to change the balance of good bacteria and bad bacteria, which then leads to inflammation. And I don't want to scare you when I say this. It's truly to bring more awareness to you. But inflammation is what leads to chronic illness and disease, including IBS, autoimmune diseases, and other forms of chronic illness. So chronic inflammation damages the lining of your gut, which then causes leaky gut. If you've probably heard that term, leaky gut, which is where tiny particles that are supposed to stay in your gut start leaking into your bloodstream. And then as a result, it starts to set off your immune responses and creates even more inflammation. So it's really like a never-ending cycle. So how does this show up in your day-to-day life? So for a lot of people who are living in survival mode, it starts with symptoms like bloating, abdominal pain, diarrhea, or constipation, which are the more common signs of IBS. But it can also lead to brain fog, fatigue, acid reflux, joint pain, skin issues, and even migraines. And so often people think that these symptoms are isolated, that they're connected to something else. But it truly all comes back to your nervous system. They're all signs that something deeper is going on. And that deeper issue is a dysregulated nervous system. So when you're functioning from a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze, your nervous system can't prioritize digestion. Because your nervous system's number one job is to keep you alive. So digesting your food isn't the main priority when you're being chased by a tiger, right? When you're in actual threat or danger, your nervous system needs to keep you alive. So digestion is turned off. And if you're like, but Tatiana, I'm not in actual danger and my nervous system is still functioning from a state of survival, that's because your nervous system doesn't understand logic. So your nervous system's primary language, like we've talked about a gazillion times in other episodes, is physical sensation. So it doesn't matter if you're not in actual danger. If your nervous system perceives that there's danger, you're going to immediately go into a state of fight or flight, especially if you have unresolved trauma. So if your nervous system has been functioning from a state of fight, flight, or freeze since you were in childhood, then it's still going to function in a state of fight, flight, or freeze in adulthood until your nervous system understands that you're safe. So when you're in survival mode, your digestion is turned off. So this is one of the reasons why you don't experience hunger when you've been functioning from a state of fight, flight, or freeze for a long period of time. And even think about those times where you've experienced really strong emotions like sadness or anxiety or anger. You probably don't experience hunger during those times either, right? Because your nervous system is not in a parasympathetic state. Your nervous system can only digest when you're in a parasympathetic state. So the good news is that all of this is reversible and you can heal IBS, you can heal gut health issues when you heal your nervous system, because as you know, everything is connected. This is why I always say that physical health and mental health are not separate things. So one of the primary ways you can heal your nervous system is through somatic experiencing. Because like I've talked about in other episodes, somatic experiencing is about healing the nervous system at the root by discharging survival energy and rewiring your physiology, which is so freaking cool. I am always fascinated and mind-boggled by the fact that we can just change our physiology, change our biology from healing our nervous system. So when your nervous system begins to heal, your gut gets the signal that it's okay to function properly again. So as a result, the inflammation starts to decrease, your digestion starts to improve, and the other symptoms connected to poor gut health start to dissipate. Here are 3 things you can practice to support both your nervous system and your gut health on your own. So number 1, slow down your meals. Your nervous system loves slowness. Your nervous system heals in slowness. So if you want your nervous system to start digesting food properly, you need to show it that you're safe. And slowness creates more safety in your body. So take a moment to smell your food, taste your food, chew slowly, really allow yourself to enjoy what you're eating in a very present manner. So that's number 1, slow down your meals. Number 2, practice somatic tools to decrease stress. Somatic practices like the VU sound, orienting, gentle movement, self-locating are all really great tools to again create that safety that your body needs in order to move out of survival mode. Hey there, if you're looking for daily somatic practices to add to your toolbox, I'd love to introduce you to my somatic bundle where I guide you through over 30 somatic tools and practices that support your nervous system by creating the safety that your nervous system requires to move out of survival mode. Just click the link in the show notes and you will get immediate access to my library of tools. See you there. And number 3, understand your bodily cues. Pay attention to how certain foods or situations make you feel. Your gut, your body is always communicating with you. It's just a matter of tuning in and allowing yourself to be curious about what your body is saying. And this is another thing that I help my clients with, because during our somatic experiencing sessions, I'm observing and tracking your nervous system, and I'm basically decoding what your body is saying so that I can help you track and understand your own nervous system outside of our sessions. So I want you to know that there is hope. Healing your nervous system isn't just about symptom relief, right? That's what coping skills, somatic tools like the VU sound are all about. They are there to support your nervous system to give you that momentary symptom relief. But healing your nervous system long term is possible so that you don't have to just cope all of the time. You can truly live a life outside of survival mode, outside of chronic pain, and outside of chronic illness. So if you found this episode helpful, I would love to hear your thoughts. As usual, leave a comment, a review, or share this episode with someone who might need it, because it really helps out this podcast, but more importantly, it helps out other humans. More people need to know about the significant role the nervous system plays and how it's truly connected to everything we do. So I would love for you to help spread more awareness on this topic by sharing it with someone. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. Don't forget to tag me at tatiana.holistic.coach. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.